Okay, boomer. The familiar refrain today of younger people ridiculing their elders, and specifically the baby boom generation born between 1946 and 1964, for being out of touch with today's society.
Am I so out of touch? No, it's the children who are wrong.
But what's with the name boomers? Well, the name is derived from an unprecedented post-war spike in birth rates, so boom. And despite what Gen Z wants you to think, boomers are cool. I mean, they invented cool. Jimi Hendrix, tie-dyed t-shirts, muscle cars. They made the best music and movies. They invented music festivals. You're welcome. I mean, they did some incredibly awesome things, like roam the neighborhoods unattended and eat Jell-O for dinner, 3 courses. If they seem a bit out of touch today, maybe it's because so many things that used to be commonplace for them have vanished off the face of the earth.
What's happening?
What's happening?
What's happening?
Welcome, I am Nostalgic Nick with Do You Remember, and I am not a boomer nor a Gen Z. But today we're gonna be taking a look at 10 things that only boomers remember. Before we take off like your old Evel Knievel stunt bike toy, please hit that thumbs up icon if you enjoyed today's video, and subscribe to our channel so you get more content. But now, come on and let's turn back the clock. Sears catalog. Long before Amazon had grown into the cultural behemoth that completely dominates today's retail landscape, there was another one-stop shop for people to order anything they could dream of from the comfort of their own homes. I'm talking, of course, about the Sears catalog, a massive compendium of goods ranging from toilet paper to garden hose, all the way through to the actual houses, all available for mail order purchase. At one point, almost every home in America used that catalog.
What are you reading?
The new Sears catalog.
And it was an invaluable tool for those in rural areas and African Americans unable to shop at local stores due to segregation. But due to a combination of Walmart and the internet, people just stopped using it. And you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone younger than 55 who remembers having one at home. And don't even get me started on the Wish book, oh my gosh. I literally camped out by the mailbox for that. And I would circle everything I wanted, and Mom and Dad would get me one thing, maybe. Hey, that's life, isn't it? Milkmen. The milkman cometh, or at least he used to, once a day.
The milkman doesn't even deliver here.
Now a cultural relic and a way for filmmakers to instantly conjure the atmosphere of the 40s and 50s. But milkmen used to be a very big part of Americans' lives. Every morning you'd awake to a glass bottle filled with the finest cow excretions known to man waiting on your stoop, so you can have it on top of cereal or just guzzle down, strengthening your bones and building muscles in the process. Even as late as the early 60s, 30% of milk was still delivered directly to people's homes.
Who's your best friend, Mom?
The milkman.
But I bet today only boomers actually remember a milkman ever coming to their house. S&H Green Stamps. Anyone not of boomer age can surely be forgiven their blank stares when the subject of S&H Green Stamps comes up, because they're a relic of a bygone era that simply aren't even referenced anymore. But the stamps paved the way for every credit card reward and retail loyalty program that has ever come since.
Most men who shop will say, "Don't let me forget my S&H Green Stamps. My wife will shoot me if I go home without them."
Customers received stamps at the checkout counter of supermarkets, department stores, and gas stations, and they could mail them in to receive rewards from a catalog. By the 1960s, S&H issued more stamps than the USPS and distributed more than 35 million catalogs a year. But today, they are no more and live on only in boomers' memories, so not for long. 2-digit zip codes, weird state abbreviations. An addressed envelope used to look very different back in the day, as boomers can well attest to. That's because when zip codes were first instituted in 1948, they were just 2 digits long. I guess people were only mailing letters to 99 places in America. and there were no hard and fast rules for abbreviating state names. Arizona was constantly getting confused with Arkansas, Maine with Massachusetts. It was basically a big old confusing mess. And seeing as how boomers are just naturally confused on their own, I'm kidding, the government stepped in, and in 1963 we got the 5-digit zip code, along with codified state abbreviations. And now our letters never get lost or written. USPS twice a day. Speaking of mail, the earliest boomers might remember a bizarre fact from the early 20th century. Namely, that the USPS used to deliver mail more than once a day.
Today, postal employees must cope with an ever-increasing avalanche of mail.
Mail carriers were instructed to deliver letters promptly and directly, and would visit residences twice a day, and businesses up to 4 times in one day. And while that might seem ludicrous to us today, in a time before instant communication, mail was a much more vital component of our everyday lives. But getting the post more than once a day is expensive. And as people used the postal system less and less, there was no need to receive that birthday card from grandma right now. And by 1950, mail was down to the more familiar once-a-day routine. Calling the operator. In this age of cell phones in every pocket, able to call anyone in the world, it must be hard for kids today to wrap their heads around the idea of calling a phone operator.
But tell me, sir, wouldn't you really rather have a Buick?
But as any boomer can tell you, before the advent of direct distance dialing in the late 50s, in order to call someone outside your local area, you had to pick up the phone, call 0, and ask an operator to connect you. The operator would then do something with plugs and switches, and voila, you'd be talking to someone across the country. I won't get into the technical side of it right now, and it's not because I don't understand it, it's not. It's just because we don't have time. And I don't fully understand it. Pop-top cans. When boomers used to drink pop with their friends, or steal beers from their parents, opening the can of their favorite fizzy beverage used to be a very different proposition. Because back in the day, instead of the push-tab system we all know and love, the pop-top instead dominated the aluminum can landscape. I know I'm using a lot of technical jargon here, but bear with old Nick. The pop-top, of course, being a little ring you would pull off a can to open it, and then just chuck on the ground. Just kidding, litter is bad, and the crying Indian told us that. Which is why all cans now have their opener permanently fixed on the top, so you can litter the whole piece all at once. I'm just kidding again, litter is bad, recycling is good. Slide rules. Ah yes, slide rules. And I know you're thinking, yes Nick, slides do rule. I love going down them, the bigger the better. To which a nearby boomer might roll their eyes, because a slide rule for hundreds of years was one of the most important mathematical tools humans possessed. But what is a slide rule, anyone under 55 asks? Basically 2 sliding rulers. They weren't great at naming things back then, but it allowed the user to perform advanced multiplication, division exponents, roots, logarithms, and trigonometry. And it was essential for engineers, scientists, and all manner of nerds. Unfortunately for sliding proponents, the advent of the electronic scientific calculator in 1974, and now the fact that we all have super powerful calculators in our pockets right now, it's made the slide rule obsolete. But hey, those huge metal slides also did rule. Duck and cover drills. Living in the 50s and 60s, the specter of an all-out nuclear war with the USSR hung over everyone's heads all the time, which is why every boomer, no doubt, remembers duck and cover drills in school growing up. The alarm would go off and the entire class would dive under their desks and put their hands over their heads because that is going to save you from a hydrogen bomb. Eventually, a thawing of relations in the Cold War, and people realizing that the idea was super dumb led to duck and cover drills being phased out.
Hey, Bert, come on out and meet all these nice people, please.
But I know every boomer was probably kinda traumatized by them growing up. Alright, there they are. 10 things that I'm certain only boomers will remember in the flesh. Now get down in the comments and tell me why I'm wrong. Do you remember all 10 of these? Did you do duck and cover drills? Anyone old enough to remember the post coming twice a day? What about the green stamps? Get in the comments and tell us all your memories of all of these things.
Nothing slows down the baby boomers.
If you enjoyed today's video, please click that thumbs up icon, it really helps. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel so you don't miss our next video. But as always, from all of us here at Do You Remember, we want to thank you for watching.